Growing is what I do. It's who I am, and I want to share it with the world. Grow Bites, every Sunday at 5:55 with Tom Morcombe of Vermont Grow Coaching, where we dive into the wonderful world of cannabis cultivation, extraction, and new techniques. This is my world. Won't you join me? Hey guys, Tom with Vermont Grow Coaching, and welcome to another episode of Grow Bites, where we provide you some of the best cannabis tips and tricks every week with a little bit of fun involved, because I'm me, right? Okay, so this week it's a wonderful fucking day out. Yeah, it's beautiful outside, and I know I said I try to stop swearing. I'm sorry, I did it again. I'm not taking the glasses off today because the sun's in my eyes a little bit. It's transitions help a little bit, so that's fucking fantastic. I love it. Today we're gonna talk about hot composting. Why? Because too many people are like, dude, I can't compost. That takes 6, 12 months, 2 years if I don't know how to do it right. So what do? What is hot composting, and why is it so important? Well, that's what we're here for today, right? So hot composting is pretty simple. You can have your compost done in as little as 2 to 4 weeks. That's simple. It's not that much more difficult than regular composting. It is going to require daily turning, but it's pretty easy to do. So let's talk about that a little bit. So what are you going to need? So the first thing you're going to need for your compost is going to be some sort of compost pit. Now you can build a wire cage pit, you can build a chicken wire pit. In my situation, I like to use pallet pits. So in that situation, you get a few pallets, you put them together. You can even use a fourth pallet as the door, put some cinder blocks underneath them if you wish, that sort of thing, to help maintain a proper structure. You can even put some wire mesh around the outside if you're worried about any of your compost or any of the juices even seeping out on the side of actual pallets. So that looks a little bit like this right here. All right, great. So the first thing we're gonna do is you're gonna layer some sticks underneath that compost pit. And if you can hear that chicken in the background, I apologize for that. She will not shut up. We've got 25 of them on site here, and they just love to make a lot of noise all day, every day, from the time they get up in the morning to the time they go to bed at night. They always say, oh, don't get a rooster, they're so noisy. You know what? The chickens are just as noisy. It's just a different noise, okay? But I love their compost. I love what they do for the garden, and I love the fact that they help with the bugs and stuff. So they are fantastic, and I keep them around. You should too. Now, back to the compost. The first thing you're gonna do on the bottom layer of your pallets is you're gonna put a layer of sticks. It doesn't have to be too high, maybe 3 inches at the minimum, up to about 1 foot high if you'd like. Now that layer of sticks, that's gonna act as your aeration. Now the aeration is gonna be fantastic to allow air up underneath the compost, and it's going to help with initiating the actual starting of the compost process, and ensure that there's enough oxygen available for the decomposition process and the microbials to do their thing in the compost, right? So that's what the stick layer is for. Now you don't have to use sticks, but I like to use sticks because over the course of a couple of years, those sticks will actually decompose and become part of the compost themselves. And then you can just start a new stick pile at the base and go from there. So sticks, twigs, whatever you want to call them, just like these. Layer those in the bottom of your compost, okay? Now we're going to go with a 50-50 compost split. When I say a 50-50 split, I want 50-50 green waste and brown waste. So if you don't know what the difference is between green waste and brown waste, definitely look up the individual items that you can use to, or which is on one list and the other, right? Somebody said to me the other day, Tom, your videos, they're like, you say you don't do them live, but you have these times where you go off on tangents and stuff and don't go back, or you mess up, and like, why don't you cut those out? I'm like, well, because it's still me, and because the only reason I don't do my lives live is because all the comments popping up is like, oh my God, and I'd be sending off on a million more tangents than I already am. So in that respect, this is why you get me as me, right? So we're gonna take the 50-50 green waste and brown waste. Look up a list if you don't know what they are, but for the most part, things like shredded newspaper and your brown leaves from the yard. That's going to be your brown waste. your leaf mulch, adding additional nitrogen, such as additional composted manure. That's going to be your green waste. I know compost manure is brown. You're like, well, isn't that already manure? Yes, it's manure. Yes, it's already composted, but it's going to help. Trust me, I promise. Other things, like I said, grass clippings, those are going to be your green waste. You also are going to have, certain vegetables, leafy greens and stuff that you're going to want to add in there as well, that are going to help provide additional nitrogen to your compost mixture. Alfalfa meal is fantastic. All right, so what have we talked about so far? So we've got leaves, right? That's brown waste. We got newspaper. We got some green waste coming in there with some grass clippings, right? We got the base layer sticks, and then we've got alfalfa meal, right? Look at this, alfalfa meal. I love alfalfa meal for so many things. It works so well with compost starting, so well with soil starting. Speaking of compost starting, you don't need a compost starter. You can start a nice, beautiful, amazing compost using alfalfa meal, composted manure, and some wonderful microbials. If you have the ability to do so, throw in some red wigglers as well, and you'll be off to a great start. So, hot composting, base layer of sticks, 50-50 mix of green waste and brown waste. It can be newspaper, it can be, again, leaves, it can be, whatever green and brown waste you have on hand. As long as it's not contaminated, use it. I like to use corrugated cardboard as well. Now you'll see all of this stuff that I'm showing you here, for the most part, is pretty fine ground or pretty shredded, even the newspapers and the corrugated cardboard. That is very, very important. By having the material be considerably smaller in size, it's going to take a lot less time for breakdown. You're also going to notice that with the cardboard here, I'm not using any sort of dyed cardboard. I'm not using cereal boxes or things of that nature that may have a dye on the outside. Why? Because that dye is not okay for this guy. I don't want that dye in my compost. My compost is all natural, it's organic, it's everything from the yard, it's everything that may have gone from soil from the previous year, and the roots and the leftover stalks and stems of the plants all go into this compost. So how do you get it that small? With one of these bad boys. All right, get yourself a compost mulcher, a compost shredder, whatever they want to call it. They have electric ones, they have gas powered ones. They're not super expensive, they're not super cheap either. You might spend a few $100s on one, but it's totally worth it. This is a super easy way in order to make yourself hot compost in less than a month, right? So the only other thing that you need to do to this compost each and every day is turn it. You might need to add some water here or there. You want to keep it nice and moist. You don't want it to dry out on you, because that's going to prevent the decomposition process from working properly. But from this point forward, you're just going to turn this soil every day. You're going to use one of these bad boys, a spade, a pitchfork, whatever you got on hand to turn that. Turn it with your hands if you gotta. I definitely don't suggest that, because if you got a 3-foot pit, you might be getting down there in your face and you're not going to like it. I've done it. Trust me. So in that respect, all you're going to do from here is just keep turning that compost every day. Turn it. Turn it, turn it. That is literally all you have to do. And in less than a month, you're gonna have some fantastic compost. Now you see, I'm doing this video outside today. Why? Because I have been spending today starting another compost pit. It's the first part of March. Plants are gonna be getting ready to go into the ground end of May, give or take. I want some nice, fantastic compost that's ready to go. And although I have some nice, wonderful aged compost that I've had on hand for years, it's not gonna be anywhere near enough to cover what I'm doing this year. So in that respect, I need to make sure I have enough compost on hand as possible, and that's why I'm doing this today. Again, beautiful day, fantastic day for it. It's never the wrong time to start compost, okay? People are gonna say, oh, don't do it in the winter time, it's gonna compost too slow. Yeah, it's gonna compost slow. It's winter, it's freaking cold outside. Everything happens slow in the winter time because it's cold outside. Even I'm slow outside in the winter time because it's cold outside. But when it comes down to it, you can still do it. You can even make a hoop house work 4 seasons in Vermont if you really wanted to. It's easily doable. People don't really want to do it because there's extra expenses involved regarding heat, and it's not easy to be able to go out from -10 degrees into an 80-degree greenhouse and start working, and then have to walk back out into that freezing cold weather again either. So a lot of people just opt out of it for that reason. It's not easy, but it is doable. So don't let anybody tell you that the first week of March is a bad time to start compost, because you can have hot composted compost ready to go by the end of April with no issues. Again, all you need are some pallets, alfalfa meal, grass clippings, whatever I put up here this time. What did I put up here this time? This was leaves, right? Yeah, this is the leaves, I think. I hope I didn't screw that up. Yeah, I put the images in before I do the videos. You guys do that too, right? No? Okay, I guess it's just me. Anyway, so again, pallets, grass clippings, alfalfa meal, get your red wriggler worms. What about microbials, Tom? You didn't mention microbials. Yeah, you can add some microbials as well. I love adding microbials, okay? When you go to add microbials, if you're in Vermont, especially if you're in southern Vermont, Rutland area, go and see these guys over at Grow Vermont. They are a fantastic little shop. They're not a big shop, but they're fantastic people. Saber's fantastic. She's usually in there all the time when you stop in, and she has several microbial products on hand that will work fantastic for compost starting. Now, what is that going to do? It's going to help that breakdown process. It's going to help the decomposition, and it's going to help allow those nutrients to come out nice, strong, and hard in that compost that you're going to provide to your plants this year. Now, might see some of this stuff. Ah, what is that? Oh my gosh, I got mold. It's not, don't worry, it's not mold. I guess you could call it mold if you want to. Microbial activity, completely beneficial. Turn it right back into the compost. The compost is gonna love it. Okay, again, last time, and then we're gonna get out of here after I go through my last little spiels for the day, right? So, you need some pallets. Use some cinder blocks if you want to, get them underneath there, all right? Get your sticks in the base layer. And then you want your 50-50 green waste. Compost, right? You can start with some composted manure. You can start with some grass clippings, some alfalfa meal. Get it all in there together, stir it up with some microbials, and cook it for up to 30 days. And you're gonna have some wonderful compost. Now, we have to jump into what really pollutes my roots for the week. Well, what really pollutes my roots for the week? I don't have one. I'm trying to stay positive this week. It's a beautiful day out. You guys should be out there enjoying the sun right now and what's left of it for the evening, not listening to me talk. Come back and watch this later. Go outside and enjoy the sun. Get a few rays in, get a little vitamin D. Don't let sad get to you, right? All right, so really quick show this week. Just really talked about composting, not really much else, but I'm here, I'm enjoying the weather, and I'm gonna get back to work. So you guys have a wonderful day, what's left of it anyway. Have a wonderful week, because we're gonna have 40s like almost all week, even a little bit of rain. I don't mind a little bit of rain. We need it. We're going to need some good rain. You know, we haven't had a lot of snow this year, so getting a little bit of rain into the soil is going to help get those plants started right after mud season ends, I think. So you guys have a wonderful week. This has been Tom with Vermont Grow Coaching, and I will see you next time. Where'd I put my blunt?